Hey, the button worked. That's good.
It skipped
Corey,
for a second.
Corey's no or usually in charge of that, but Corey is out today. So, welcome to the 5 Morning Show, the obnoxiously early Wicked Dicey show. We're your hosts, Miles and Cam today. Corey is, I think, on a plane right now. So it's us today. You just have us. If you're joining us for the first time, be sure to like and subscribe. We just hit 105 subscribers. I keep track out of vanity. Next stop, 1,000,001 would be great. We'll be there very shortly. Joining us today is Josh Hankin, winner of our Hearts and Minds. I wrote that down, highlighted, underline, bolded. Golf claps.
Yes, thank you.
So thanks for joining us, Josh. It was a little bit of a last minute thing, but we're super glad to have you. Thanks for carving out some time in your day. So yeah, we the big news is you all had a secret meeting without me last night, and I'm jealous. So,
It happens. It happens.
I was like messaging Josh and Cameron, and I was like, let's figure out a show for tomorrow. And Josh was like, I'm right next to Cameron. I was like, what just happened?
Yep.
Yeah,
Non-Warhammer tabletop hobbies.
Got you. What were those non-Warhammer tabletop hobbies?
Gloomhaven.
Okay.
We've been having fun getting through Gloomhaven, which is one of those endeavors that takes quite a long time.
Yeah. Where are you all at in your missions and your character unlocks and stuff like that?
I have no idea where we are in the overall, like how much more is left, but everyone's kind of unlocking. I think we're all on our second character except for Sam, who just murders everybody.
I feel like we're like 30%, 35%, or 40% through the amount of missions. Maybe not, because there's a lot of missions, but
yeah. I love Gloom. I've only played a little bit of Gloomhaven, but like great game.
It's an investment of time.
Yeah.
You gotta play it not regularly, but you have to keep going on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we've been lucky in that we effectively play it at Cam sometimes, and then we also play it on TTS. So we go from live to virtual, so it keeps the rhythm going. Because I've started Gloomhaven probably like 4 or 5 times over the years, played 2 games, and never picked it back up with the same group.
That's what it seems like sometimes with that. I always feel like that with D&D sometimes too. I'm like just getting invested, and then somebody can never make the meetings, and then we fall apart.
Yep.
But cool. So this is this is not necessarily the Gloomhaven show, but so to
could be worse.
Bit,
could be talking about Legion.
Maybe we should just talk about Gloomhaven. Somebody actually was in the chat yesterday, and they were talking about Conquest, and I was like, should we all convert over to Conquest? Is it the time?
It's not like we're heavily invested in another alternate tabletop.
Yeah, and Miles, I feel like that's a strong reaction to the War Scroll changes. Like, you made Scragrock go up 50 points. I'm out of here.
My army's unplayable. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a good segue. The battle scroll is out, and we're not there yet when we're going to discuss like every in and out of all the battle scrolls. But it is interesting just to note out loud that Gitz definitely got the hammer. I think so. Two of my lists that I thought were somewhat competitive went up 140 points each, which was lovely. And then Josh, you play a lot of Gits as well, right?
I do, yeah. And I haven't played a ton with the new book. Outside of, I think I've played 1 2,000 point game, honestly, and then 3 games at a doubles event last weekend. The thing I found interesting about the War Scroll changes, how I know I'll say that, and then we'll all realize like it's because it's GW, but how do you miss point Scragrot by a third?
That was a lot.
Like 160 to like, okay, 10 points, 20 points, get it. Yeah, he's a little cheap, and everyone knew he was cheap and he was going to go up, but hitting him for 50 points right off the bat seems like kind of silly.
We made a mistake.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, that thing that's better than the best caster supposedly in the game in Fate Weaver. Well, maybe this little goblin guy shouldn't have that and be that cheap.
So previously, it was every list had a Scragrot in it. Do you think it's the death of the every list had Scraggrot at this point?
I don't think so. I think he's still at 210. I mean, I think it was 210 in the old book, and he was fantastic. You used to get that, you'd hit somebody with the moon on a stick and they take a wound for the rest of the game, which was fun, terrible bookkeeping that you had to do at the end of every round. But I think he'll still be there. I think you'll just end up. I mean, the gets list that I came up with for the most part ended up being like, here's my list. Oh, I still have 800 points. I'm at 1,800 points. I still have 200 points to spend, and now that just gets absorbed a little faster. So instead of another unit of fanatics or something, it's now, it's now some of those characters that are a little stronger. But there's a lot of great things in the book that didn't get hit. So hopefully this gives a little more room to people playing like troll lists. Fanatics, got to run Fanatics. We'll talk about the doubles event, but it was an April Fool's doubles event. So I ran 3 units of Fanatics, 25 Fanatics in a 1250 list, and it was super fun.
Yeah. And so what Josh is referring to there is we went down to the Armory and joined John Costa, and some of our other friends. Sam showed up and played a little slow, but we had a lot of fun. And there was some, like, if you haven't, for folks who kind of follow up on this later and haven't played a team tournament, or like Dave, I see you in the chat, try out a team tournament. I was like really suspicious of them early on. I was like, I don't ever want anybody to tell me how to run my army, or I want all 2,000 points. But it's really fun. And it's not just because I won. So it has nothing to do with that. Maybe it does.
Good question for you, Miles. How many points is your list now?
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine, because
you were running 2,000 points.
Yeah, and I think I had Snufflers for my list, and so those went up.
They went up 10 points, right?
Yeah, 20 for Snufflers, and then 10 for the Squig Herd, so that's times 3, so 30, and then Scragrot for 50. It's a lot. So I'm like somewhat pivoting, I think, to like, I don't know, like rally heavy list, I think.
Well, they nerfed that too.
But you can do it like, I think you can do it like 3 times, right?
Yeah, they have a heroic action that you can do rally on 3 units. So if you're only missing 10 spears or something, you can do it.
Yeah.
Or it's still really good for bounders because they have the Moon Clan word. So like you lose 3 or 4 bounders, you're still rallying on a 4-up, and they have enough. They have 2 wins apiece. So you can get up to 5 of them back on new mechanics.
Yeah. So that I think is what I'm headed towards. I'd rather avoid. I'm not like the biggest like troll player fan, Trogoth player. I like them, but they're not like my thing. We have a Mike up at Battleground Sagas. He plays a lot of trolls, but I don't know. I haven't really found my like stride with them. But Cameron, did any of your like lists, or did the battle scroll affect you in any significant manner or way? Like, because we're talking a lot of gets, but there were like other changes.
No, there was some wishy-washy Cruel Boys updates, and I'm like, it's still just not enough for them to be playable. And then there wasn't a whole lot else touched. It was like slaves, for some reason.
Slaves went down.
Cheaper. I don't know.
Because we need more blocks of warriors on the table just sitting there.
Yeah.
Minus the wound, minus the red.
It just doesn't make sense.
The same guy who made the mistake on Scragrot also is just like, I'm gonna drink a beer before I submit these points, and
I don't like
make everything down here 10 more points.
I mean, it's like I don't trust their data at all. It just seems wrong. Like I don't know what they're
also
pulling from, but like they're like, oh, Feck is the number 2 most winningest army in the game right now. I'm like, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, my buddy beat me one time with Feck, so it's OP.
Yeah. I'm like,
I feel like that's their development plan. It's like, what happened? Well, I played this guy and he rolled really hot and he wiped me out. So they're the best team, the best army out there.
I find
also the other dodge of the bullet was freaking KO. Zach's been going off about that lately, and I mean, I agree. Like, I think it's like they had no point changes, or like I guess the rally kind of affects them. But yeah, and I agree with Dave. Like Arcane Tome, it needed it. It was such a, what do you call that? Like when it's like a it's like a hinge. You're not a hinge. Crutch. It's a crutch for so many armies. I was pretty excited to see that.
It was also taking up a slot that, like, you could use any other artifact that is flavored and like does a purpose from the books, and you would never have a reason to look at them even, because you were like, oh, extra spell. Yeah. Like every army just wants to make somebody wizard or have an extra spell, and it's still good. It still makes something a wizard that's not a wizard. So like, it still works. Like it's still going to be used, just not as abused as it was. I'm surprised they didn't deal at the same time with Master of Magic, because Master of Magic is also kind of OP.
Yeah,
right. I've run it a lot on the Mangler, boss on a Mangler Squig, and I was doing that for the old Gits, and then giving him Flaming Weapon, which now is out, but it's still really good because he went down in points too, which is nice. But he can still throw out, Gnashing Jaws, right in the face of the enemy. He can do, there's still a lot with Mystic Shields. Not as good because you can't go in with Flaming Balls of Fire, but at the other side of that is it's still effective to get a wizard up the table for at least that list. But we'll see how often it's there. It kills the caster on the Maw Crusher doing the mortal wounds and then stomping people, unfortunately, because that was super fun.
Oh gosh, yeah,
because he can't take the lore spell to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's a good change, I'll be honest. I think it's just around the board. It's something that should have happened a while ago. So I like that change. Going back to your thing though, like nothing is affecting me with the War Scroll. Like I'm so mad about this that they just refuse to give Cruel Boys, rules that function.
Mm-hmm.
So they took away the annoying rolling on the Gut Ripper's like scare shield, which is like cool, great, thank you. But it still doesn't work against heroes and monsters. Like,
yeah,
the Grots get -1 to hit against everything around them, and they don't for some reason. So it's like, why do you do these half measures? Like this army's been on the bottom of the table for 7 War Scroll updates. For so long.
I think it's funny that they tried, they're obviously know it, because Cruel Boy shows up as its own little section in every battle scroll or change. They're like, we know they kind of aren't good, but we're not gonna make them actually.
And they're like, here's a little something for you every time, just a
little candy.
Yeah, a piece of candy. Yeah, it's getting so close to being a full piece of candy, but it's just like a morsel. It's a crumb of an army right now.
Yeah. On the flip side, the Gits book can come out and Scragrod is mispointed by 50 points. Right?
Yeah, and I mean
they're nervous of making him OP. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a track record of that. I mean, that happened with dragons too. Like dragons were going to be, when they first were coming out, they were going to be like 130, 150 points or something. And playtesters were like, no, this is way too strong. Like people are yeeting across the board. And that was when they could hero phase move.
Yeah.
They could hero phase move, and they were in your army, in your opponent's army every game, just going across the entire table and just obliterating things. And then they're like, whoops, well, they should probably be more expensive than that. Yeah, they by a factor of almost 2. I think, what are they now? They're 240.
I'm spacing out. It's been a while since I ran a Stormcast list.
I don't know.
It's like
they were off by 50 to 80 points on that unit from what I remember.
Yeah, and then they gutted some of their abilities too on top of that. So
they changed the thing where they can hero phase move.
Yeah.
So they have a track record of not knowing what they're doing. So
yeah, and I mean, you hear that a lot. It's like, oh, GW messed it up. I mean, they've got a lot of rules to negotiate and figure out, and micro interactions. So good on them. It's just sometimes they do mess it up.
Yeah. Okay. You can say that. You can say that. But then you can also just look at a War Scroll and say, how much do you think this should cost, right?
Yeah.
And then they can get closer than 50 or 80 points off of it. That's a big point swing.
I was honestly, I think my hot take, mine like not a lukewarm to not hot take, is just like I wish there was a couple more like point changes. I just felt like they didn't. It's like it was very micro adjusty, and it didn't feel good. It was just like cool. We're gonna knock some armies out of contention, some back into contention even more. Done. Like it just to me, like it just felt like I wanted like a couple other factions to get just a little bit of love, like 5 points here, 5 points there, just to make it like spicy and interesting. But I get that it's like supposed to be not like altering like the entire game state or anything. It's just a little bit more would have, I think, felt a little better. So I don't know. That was my like kind of quick and dirty.
Yeah, the slaves one for me is a big what? Like,
yeah.
Why?
It was all green.
Yeah.
it's like to the moon.
I don't think they needed to do anything, first of all, let alone like reduce their entire army.
That's
by
why
like
Corey didn't join us
10%.
this morning. He's off to like celebrity like status now with his Slaves of Darkness. He's just like he's off winning tournaments.
I don't think it's going to be meaningful.
He's busy fig painting more warriors.
I'm sure.
I think you're going to get 50 points back on that on a normal slaves list on average here. So like it's not the biggest thing, but like might be an endless spell or something they get extra. Oh, that's right. They also nerfed Tzeentch, which means I'm probably not going to play them.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
those are big points changes too. 20 points, and those are all like the best.
Which I felt like Tzeentch was in a really good place. Like personally, like having played against them a few times, like it just feels like if anything, I would even give them like a couple of points.
It's because they think their data is saying that Tzeentch has got a 60% win rate. Which I don't believe that. I think Tzeentch has probably a 50-something% win rate, like which is where it should be. But their data seems very skewed to me.
Yeah, it's odd.
I wish that they would publish their data, like show links to what they're grabbing from or whatever, but they're not going to do that. So
yeah.
It feels disingenuous, but I don't know. Maybe it is right. I think I was up late one day, like doom scrolling this and being like, how is this data the way it is? Like,
yeah. Was that yesterday? Is that one day?
No, this was like 2 weeks ago. I think from the last. I was looking at the last data set.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. I do want to pivot a little bit and just add something in for as an announcement. We have an announcement. Everyone probably already knows, but we just added on Wicked Brush again. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share something. So with my screen, and this might go horribly wrong. We'll see. So, yep, none of it worked. Anyway, so join us for Wicked Brush. Grab your tickets. If we make $5 today, it's good, because you know what? The other thing about Wicked Brush today is that all the proceeds are going to go to charity. We're kind of deciding what charity that is. If you have any suggestions, write us at hello@wickeddicey.com. I got it in, Cameron. But yeah, we kind of poked away at this image yesterday and got it out, and I just wanted to share that and have Josh share in our glory with that. So anyway, yay. I also kind of have like a few, like, sorry for the screen share, it should be way more professional than this, but we have like a few images from Everwinter, Wicked Brush, which are edited to be okay. But yeah, that's
from
one of the winners from last year, Joe Pagano. I think it's Kane is the name of the figure or something like that. But yeah, so start painting if you already haven't, and pick up your tickets today. It's they're on like the Ironweld site, so we'll have more Everwinter images soon. I just haven't necessarily gotten around to editing because I have other people life things to do. So anyway, just want to share that, get that out there.
I was going to ask, for the Wicked Brush, is it set up so that people paint they paint their models, they bring it in, and then they put it in like a display case, and then it's a kind of Golden Demon style, right? Like
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're gonna have like more cases this year. We have actually like not announced yet, kind of, but like celebrity judges that are coming in to help us out. Nobody like million followers here or there, but like some really cool folks that are gonna help us out. And yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I think there's off the top of my head, it's 2 categories. So it's the fantasy and then like the sci-fi, kind of everything else, future, past, right? And single model, I think it's like squads and then large groups. So you guys gonna enter anything into the Wicked Brush?
All Legion.
All Legion. Actually, really, you should.
Droidicas. Yeah, I got a speeder I can throw in there.
No, those models are some of those models are very derpy, like not very high quality. The sculpts.
Yep.
And they don't have the level of detail required to enter into a painting. Some of them do. Some of them do. Not all of them do.
And then one last announcement for everybody, because again, I just like to keep everyone informed. Is we also have this. So this is for anybody who's not doing anything on what do you call it? Friday. We're doing like a paint and sip with Gretchen. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And so that is going to take place at the 4 Points. And apparently this happened at, what was the one that they were at, Cameron? The photographers. And
they were at Du Bois.
Du Bois. So they did this at Du Bois. It was super successful. It's so like you see there, it's $40. And then the Small Hammer, I think they're I'm probably saying that incorrectly as well. They're going to have like a professional photographer there taking photos of the miniatures, but also you can get your army professionally photographed as
photographed.
well.
The word
Photographed, because
I had mine. I had them do it for me at Du Bois. It was awesome. It was great. Because I'd take crap photos of my armies.
Yeah.
I usually take a picture of them with like paint pots and stuff, like on the dirty cutting mat that I've been like working on, and they have like light boxes set up, and it's great. So highly recommend doing that at Ironweld.
Cool. Yeah, just wanted to share that with that's our Ironweld announcement. We did our Ironweld announcement. It's great. It's lovely. Yeah, and the only other real thing is Josh, you have like a tournament coming up, right?
Yeah, I actually have 2. It's going to be a lot of Warhammer. So last weekend was the doubles event at the Armory. In 2 weeks is the Warpstone GT. So a contingent of us, New England folk, are headed down to Pittsburgh for the Fabricator Forge. That should be fun. I went to, I guess probably a year and a half ago, went to another GT down there, and it's a great spot. Super fun, great crowd, and a good hobby club. So I guess they're technically a club instead. Plus they have a room full of used miniatures, so like people can, I think I bought 4 Noblars because that's all they had, 4 random Noblars, and it was great. And then after that is the team retreat, which fortunately enough, all but one of our teammates are right here on this call, and in fact, John is in the chat someplace.
Yeah. And we're not going to say what we're running because it's a secret tech.
Oh yeah, all secret.
Obviously, all secret tech. And we also have like a fun treat for everybody in the form of sweatshirts for ourselves. So anyway, more on that soon. You'll have to either attend the tournament or stay tuned for all the reveals. It's going to be great. There's still like spots to sign up if you find a team of 4. We can accommodate that. So work on that. Oh, actually, Jam just reminded me too. Yeah, Josh, I ended up running an Oops All Fanatics list against Cameron on Wednesday. So it was like 3x10 Fanatics.
Yep.
It didn't work out great, but But it was fun.
I mean, when I ran the Fanatics, just on that topic, it was super fun. So the list I played in the doubles, which was 1250, was basically two Gabapaloozas, 2 units of spears that were 20 big, and then 10, 10, and 5 Fanatics. And it was April Fool's Day, so one of my 4 units didn't have Fanatics hidden in it. And that was so it was a lot of fun to play and like throw out one Gabapalooza way up front and was like, oh, he's going to pop the 10 out of there. So I want to avoid it. And they run away. And then it's actually the unit at the back of the table because you can teleport them and throw them around.
Yeah.
But I think the big play with Fanatics is let the unit get wiped out, place them within 6 of the last model in the unit. And if that's in the combat phase, they then get to swing and they can go after whatever attack. So we played Sam, Gould, and John, and basically half of John's army died because the Maw Crusher came in and killed a bunch of goblins, and here go 10 Fanatics, and they murder things, and it was so much fun. But then they also just go away in a stiff breeze.
If you don't commit too many to the board, because if you have them all on the board, and like I was saying, the miles, like my normally like the shooting that I do with Zinch, like the heroes, like I just skip it because it's so bad. But in this case, I was like, well, he's saving on 6s, and every one kills a Fanatic. So like, if you have too many on the board, and they can just get picked off by like spells and stuff, and then force, I don't know. I think if you don't commit too many of them all at once, so that they can't just like pick up all the rest of the things with incidental shooting and stuff like that.
They're super easy to remove. And I mean, not by leadership necessarily, because they are lead 10. Or bravery 10, I should say, but when they pop off, they pop off. Like it is pretty amazing when you roll 5d6 and you're like, oh, okay, 24 attacks. And the other thing that was important in a lot of those games was having some hero nearby who could issue all-out attack, because they had 4s and 3s, and going to 3s and 3s was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they're not elite, right? Super weird.
No.
Yeah, that got me. That actually, like, I think lost me the game. Was I kind of overextended, and then I was like, oh, I can't re-roll that 6-inch charge that I failed. This sucks. And and now we're sitting pretty to 3 shots that are going to take down my whole army.
You just gotta play 200 points down and get the reroll charge triumph.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, they're fun. I'm still like slightly suspicious and confused because we had like a long text thread in the Discord about like strike first, strike next, strike in the combat phase. And just since you've said it on this is official like rules on this show, I'm not gonna ask anymore. I'm just gonna fight with the Fanatics. But basically, like, I'm always, because Anthony was like back and forth about how like when you can't fight and when you can, and Maw Crushers can't fight at this stage, and Gore Grunters can't fight at this stage, and it's official, right? If you kill the unit, Fanatics pop out, they can attack.
Right? As long as it's still in the combat phase.
As long as you can place them,
there's no limitation on the placement, right? So as long as they're engaged, once they are engaged, it's like as if you piled into a new unit. So I think that's the genesis of where the rule came from, is there was a number of units that had always strike first. And for a while, it was the fact that if you piled into them after the always strike first phase of combat, they didn't get to attack.
So like that's Demon my understanding as well, is that there is a phase in the combat phase called the strikes first phase. So anything that has strikes first gets to go.
It was that, but there's an FAQ, and I forget where it was, but said that no, they get to fight as soon as they're engaged as they would normally.
Yeah.
Weird. And so then do you get to activate with 2 units then?
No, it's standard order, right? So the way it works is if I have my goblin unit and they're standing there and there's 2 goblins left, Maw Crusher comes in. If he stomps them out, then the Fanatics pop, and you can put them down anywhere within 6, which includes melee. And then if you go into the fight phase, and then in the fight phase, they would get their always strike first, right? So they go then. Or if they live through the stomp, then the Maw Crusher wipes them out. Now it's the same thing. You put them down. It's still the combat phase. So they wouldn't get to fight if it was shooting, or if it was something that happened at the end of the combat phase, like if they died to morale, right? If the rest of the goblins ran, you'd still pop them down, but they wouldn't get to fight because it's a different phase. But if they're engaged in the combat phase, they get to fight the same way as if you piled into any other unit. At least that's my understanding. That's what kind of I went through with a number of things. So I wanted to make sure I was playing it correctly, because you're spot on in that it used to be that way, that if you missed always strike first, you're just nope, SOL.
Okay, that makes more sense. You said they drop out within 6 inches. When you said that,
so when you remove the last model from the unit, before you remove the model, you put the fanatics wholly within 6 inches of that model, but there's no restriction as far as how close you are to the enemy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I was just mistaking how you said that. Okay. Yeah, that totally makes sense to me. I get it now. I was just trying to wrap my brain around it.
And
I
it was
love
funny
that you can just like throw a unit up, and I love that they're on like 6-inch charges at a 9-inch bubble. Like that's so funny. Like you can stop outside 9 and then drop them at 3. So cool.
And then still fail your charge.
And then fail it,
into like your entire hammer unit.
Yeah.
Not that that happened. Not that I'm so bitter about it. But
yeah.
Fanatics need to drop in points until Miles gets to reroll charges.
Yeah, it's powerful though. It's definitely on the power side. So
what are they? 220 points for 10?
Yeah.
That's silly.
Yeah.
That is silly.
And the Sporsplatas, the other version, is actually really good too. So they block line of sight, they get a pregame move. They're again paper, so you just can destroy them super easy. But I think they hit on 2s, wound on 4s, rend 1, D3 damage. Like they're still swingy. They just do a D3 attacks instead. But they give +1 attack to everybody wholly within 9 in the army. So you can get have them hide behind trolls, and all of a sudden your rock guts get 3 attacks apiece. And then there's other ways to add attacks, and it can get pretty silly with them, but they're fun too, and they're only 90 points, which is nice.
The problem is none of anything we're talking about actually exists out in the world right now, and it's impossible to get because it's all sold out.
I was looking for some 3D prints. I found a couple, but they're also not the best candidate for being 3D printed because they're so fragile. They'll snap instantly.
Well, should make just really heavy looking fanatics. They're just the guys that were still walking, trundling along, trying to get back up to the other fanatics. They're hiding in their little corner, but they're really I think that'd be funny.
Yeah, I found a couple. I could try printing some, but I don't have much confidence in the longevity of the ball and chain.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I have my scouts out in the wild. I have a man named John Costa who happens to be go by different stores all the time and found some for me. Yep.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, but having collected gits since AOS started, I do have 15 that are magnetized to be either the Sporsplatas or the Moon Smashes, and that's a good start, but it's definitely 10 short.
Yeah. So we gotta find that. We gotta figure out our darn lists for this retreat, because not that we already haven't, and not that it's all secret tech and it's gonna demolish everybody and dominate lovingly, but we do need to figure out our lists going into these matches. So
yeah, and that's something we should probably figure out sooner rather than later, because I would like to play the same list at the Warpstone. Good or bad, but it'll give me I don't get a lot of practice games, so that'll be great because I'll get 5 games, and that is going to be a pretty tough room because I think Team America has a practice that weekend before, and a bunch of the guys are staying for the week. A bunch of the folks are staying for a week. So it'll be fun.
Balloons. Secret tech balloon coming
Excellent
soon.
Teaser.
Yeah, teaser. Well, cool. Well, that was lovely. You guys have anything else before we kind of wrap up for the day? Any shout outs to your social media? Follow Josh at Josh
Raven's Watch is a good video game. Came out yesterday.
Basement, awesome dungeon. If anybody's ever been to Josh's house, it's really awesome. It's got a lot of gamer paraphernalia. And Cameron, you don't have a Twitter that you want everyone to follow?
No. Twitter's silly.
9 a.m. wide awake at 9 a.m. wide awake.
Yeah,
like that.
I need to rebrand.
We're gonna make a dummy account that's the Burrito Cam, and it's gonna be the image, and it's just gonna be Burrito Cam tweeting out right now.
I went back. Yeah, I went back to the sleeping bag cam because he special requested a different photo. But yeah, we should get more headshots. Anyway, well, cool. Thanks for joining us, everybody. You know, I don't wish Corey luck wherever he is today. I forget where he's headed out to. But yeah, see you on the flip side. See you on Wednesday-ish. Cameron, by the way, I'm out of town this weekend, so we are not filming. But the anyway, I forgot about. I have like a birthday like out of town thing that I forgot about.
Never gonna happen.
Never gonna happen. No, it will happen. It will happen. And this is not adult film industry filming, just so everyone knows.
Could be.
But yeah, thanks for joining us today. If you're Sam, learn how to play a little faster, and if you're everybody else, have a great day, and love you all to the end of time.